It's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Let's talk about the upcoming rematch between Zhang Weili and Rose Namajunas. So what happened? Why are they rematching? Our good friend, Uncle Chael Sonnen over at the Chael Sonnen channel posed a question that kind of blew my mind, which is, why is this match happening? He said, I don't understand it. Why is it happening? Rose won in dominant fashion. There's no reason to have a rematch. It wasn't close, etc., etc. And phew, fireworks went off in my head, and I realized, you know what? He's right. Why didn't I think of this before? But he said, I don't know why this is happening, and I'll tell you exactly why it's happening. And some people in the comments said, look, Chael Sonnen, the reason it's happening is because the UFC is trying to make money because China is a huge potential market, and there are 1 billion Chinese people, and if you get 1 billion Chinese people to give you $1, you're a billionaire, etc., etc., etc. And there might be something to that. There probably is something to that, but the real reason people are tuning in to see this in the first place, and not simply up in my arms, the reason people just accept this, the reason I just kind of accepted it, until the question was asked out loud, is this: it's our human nature. When we see fights, there are different types of fights, and by that I mean there are different types of outcomes in fights. Think of a street fight, for example. This happens a lot. Two guys get into a scrap, their friends are watching. One of them takes the other one down and starts to beat him up on the floor. The guy on the ground has no answer to it. The friends run over, pull them apart and say, stand up and box like men. Something like that. Or they call a fight to a stop. Anyway, we have this expectation of how a fight's going to go down. And on the streets, people want to see the fists fly. They don't want to see two guys hugging it out. And the casual fans of MMA are kind of the same way. But, again, there are different outcomes that get different reactions. Think about the recent matchup between Khamzat Chimaev and Li Jingliang. Pretty one-sided fight, right? So why isn't everybody screaming for a rematch like they are with the pretty one-sided fight against Rose Namajunas and Zhang Weili? I'll tell you why. What happened with Zhang Weili versus Rose? Rose comes out there, throws a kick, boom, down, fight's over, the end. We didn't see a big struggle. We saw what a lot of people, a lot of casuals call a lucky punch, or in this case, a lucky kick. There's no such thing as a lucky punch or a lucky kick, if you will. I mean, anything can happen in a fight. It's chaotic. These things happen fast. And in the thick of it, it seems like anything can happen, right? And so the fans are seeing this and they're thinking, hey, we got to play that back. If this happened 10 times in a row, it would be radically different every time. It wouldn't end with that head kick knockout every single time. Probably not even again in 100 times. I want to see it again and see what happens if we put these two bugs in a jar and shake them up and do it over again. But how's that different from Chimaev versus Li? Again, it was one-sided, but it was different. And here's how it's different. We see the skill disparity. We have Li, who is a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's a tough guy, right? He is all kinds of awesome. But then we have this next level fighter come and toy with him. Toy with him. He has this brilliant setup. He ducks under the punch, gets the takedown, lifts his opponent up, walks to the corner, starts playing with Dana White. Hey, get off your phone, pay attention. Who does that in a fight, man? He's toying with this world-class fighter, making him look like a chump, making him look like he doesn't belong in there. So after the fight, the audience is pretty well concreted in their opinion. This one guy is way better than the other guy. We understand that now. We saw a huge skill difference there. We don't need to see a rematch. If we saw this fight 10 times in a row, the outcome would probably be similar. Might not play out the exact same way, but it would probably be a pretty similar display of a skill disparity. But with that one-hit knockout, the audience is left with questions. The fans, the viewers are left with questions. Another thing Chael said is, this hasn't happened before, except it totally has. When? When, Ramsey? When has this happened before? Well, do you remember the first time Chris Weidman fought Anderson Silva? Back in the day when Anderson was considered untouchable. Nobody could stand up with him. Nobody could trade with him. Nobody could touch him. Nobody could knock him out. Nobody could get to his chin. And then Chris Weidman, a wrestler, not even known for his striking, not a little bit, knocks out the most dominant striker in UFC history. Knocks him out cold. And the fans are left like wondering, what? It's a lucky punch. We gotta play that back. That wouldn't happen again. We need to see this again. Again, Chris Weidman does the unbelievable, the unpredictable, knocks out the knockout artist, not being a striking specialist himself. And the fans want a mulligan, right? He wasn't ready. Let's do it again. Let's play it back. And they played it back, and, well, Anderson broke his leg pretty much right out of the gate. Chris Weidman retained the belt. And the fans wanted to see a mulligan, like, he wasn't ready, let's do it again. But why didn't we see it? Well, the man was injured. He had a broken leg. But in the case of Zhang Weili versus Rose Namajunas, and Polish friends, please let me know, am I pronouncing that right? Everyone in America saying Rose Namajunas. I have no idea how it's pronounced in Polish. I know it's a Polish last name, but she grew up in Milwaukee. I have a Welsh last name. I don't even know if it's spelled right. My first name's not even spelled right. I was named after my granddad. It's a Scottish first name. Well, a Scottish surname I'm using as a first name. A lot of people are confused about that, so they often get my name backwards and call me Dewey Ramsey instead of Ramsey Dewey. Anyway, my last name is Welsh Dewey. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, or if it's even spelled right. So if anybody out there speaks Welsh Gaelic, please let me know. I would be very interested. But yeah, the general idea is, if there's a quick knockout, that it must have been a fluke. It might have been a fluke, and we need to see that over again. We don't. But that's the reason why people want to see this fight again. That's why people are paying to see this fight again. In spite of the fact that Rose effectively mopped the floor with her opponent the first time in the most dominant way possible. And in theory should be moving on to bigger and better things. Thank you for watching. Oh, I almost forgot. There was one more reason. One more reason that Rose Namajunas is taking this rematch that Uncle Chael did not touch on at all. Do you remember how, in that first battle, in that first fight, Rose attempted to vanquish the Red Scare of communism with that kick upside the head? And we thought she had done it, but alas, apparently, she only vanquished 50% of communism. Let's see how it plays out this time. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train. Brought to you by xmartial.com. Use my code Ramsey10 for 10% off everything. That's xmartial.com. High quality training gear and fight apparel.